Thank you, Mr. Leader. Thank you, this leadership team, Chairman Mast. Our hearts and our prayers do go out to the families of our 6 fallen service members who've given their lives in defense of freedom and this country and America's interest. And I love my colleague and classmate Brian Mast, and he is a visible reminder of the service and the sacrifice that so many provide this country, and those who are brave enough to put on the uniform and put themselves in harm's way deserve our eternal gratitude, and they have it. Let's talk about Operation Epic Fury. The details, the latest of which were recounted this morning by the Secretary of War and the Chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff. They've been remarkably transparent. As you know, last night, members of the House received another very thorough briefing on the operation. We had, of course, the Secretary of War there, Pete Hegseth, and Chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Raisin Kane. You had Secretary of State Marco Rubio. You had John Ratcliffe, Director of the CIA. We had legal representation from the Department of Justice. They answered questions forthrightly, and it was, I think, very helpful to a lot of the members, or everybody that participated. They have communicated at great length the details of the operation, both to Congress and to the American people. I think you can make an argument this is the most transparent administration in U.S. history. The Commander-in-Chief himself has been very forthright and very vocal about what's going on, answering questions and providing the insights that I think that people need. We're 4 days in so far on Operation Epic Fury. It's been limited, precise, and extremely lethal. It's been a remarkable success thus far, as recounted as recently as the last couple of hours by those leaders I mentioned. The early results are very encouraging. Iran's naval fleet is degraded. That was the first part of the mission, or at least the second part. The first part was the missiles. And its missile facilities in Iran and the stockpiles have severely depleted. Its former Ayatollah, the mastermind behind decades of terrorist violence, recounted by Chairman Mast and all of us over the last several days, he is now deceased. The administration has detailed its rationale behind the operation, and it bears repeating. The largest state sponsor of terrorism, Iran and its proxies, have killed more Americans than any other terrorist regime on earth. They are dedicated to it. They have been, and they say the quiet parts out loud. They wanted to wipe Israel off the face of the earth, and they'd like to take us out as well. We're the great Satan in their analogy and their misguided religion, and there was no way to appease them. In defiance of every American president since Jimmy Carter, the Iranian regime has pursued the means to acquire a nuclear weapon so that they could take that madness and that ideology to its full conclusion. Everyone, regardless of political affiliation, should be able to agree that that can never happen, should never happen. President Trump exhausted every diplomatic channel to this end. He tried. They've been over backwards. Since March of last year, he directed his administration to initiate 5 different rounds of negotiations with Iran's leaders. Most recently, and along the way, they've offered sanction relief, normalization, and most recently, they even offered nuclear fuel for life if Iran would cease its domestic nuclear program. And they were rebuffed. Iran said no. Why? Because we all know why they were enriching uranium, and it had nothing to do with medical devices and energy supply. It was to kill their enemies, and the U.S. was at the top of the list with Israel. Think about that. While Iran dragged its feet, its leaders pressed forward with its nuclear ambitions. They were stalling because they wanted to kill us. They continued to advance their conventional missile systems at a speed and a scale that greatly outpaced our regional allies' ability to respond. That is what made it imminent. In short, the situation was untenable. We had our personnel, troops, citizens, installations, and assets in harm's way. And through this operation, President Trump took decisive and defensive action to ensure the safety of our forces, our citizens, our allies, and our homeland. In my estimation, this course of action was necessary, lawful, and effective, and reversing it now would weaken America. Congress has a constitutional right to exercise its oversight authority, and we will. But we also have a duty and obligation not to undercut our own national security. One last note, there's a misconception that Operation Epic Fury is in any way a diversion from Republican demands for peace. It's the opposite. Peace is not secured through appeasement, and it's certainly not secured by airdropping billions of dollars on terrorist regimes, which is what previous Democrat administrations had done. Peace is secured through strength. That is the principle that our party has stood for my entire life, and on principle before that, articulated the idea of peace through strength. That's what this administration is demonstrating, and that is why America is the last great superpower on the planet, and all freedom-loving people around the world are grateful to God for that. Let's talk about DHS. It's been mentioned this morning that if we're being wise, now is the time to be vigilant at home and to ensure that all of our doors are locked, so to speak. Obviously, everyone understands that it's a heightened threat environment. Global tensions are high, threats are constantly evolving, and America's adversaries are watching for any sign of weakness on our part. We cannot show them that.